Hello, folks, children of all ages. Welcome to the greatest show on earth. Yay! Yes, you guys, we are back. We are back like that show Cotter. Do you remember that show Cotter, Vince?
Before
That
my
was it. Welcome
time,
back.
but yes. No,
Hey,
some of my older friends call me Vinny Barbarino.
oh, wow. Listen, I don't know who that is, but
It's
I remember that.
Travolta. It's John Travolta.
Oh,
It's the biggest star on the show.
listen, hey, the only thing I know about John Travolta is Grease and that one thing where he was getting a massage and remember he took the towel off. That's another episode. We don't need to talk about that. John Travolta scandals. Who wants to talk about that? No, you guys, we're here to talk about other things. Vince, we got another special episode today. And we love special episodes here, you guys. We have our second ever guest on the show, you guys. The second person ever to grace the screen, that is Zoom, on our show right here. And you know what our show is, Vince? Should I tell them? I'll tell you right now. First, let me tell you who I am. I am the man, the myth, the master. I am the ruler of the world. Just like Psycho Sid back in 97. I am the jet flying, said by Ric Flair, pie eating, jabroni beating, said by Dwayne The Rock Johnson, if you smell it, man with the master plan. I like to drink Canada Dry, and I don't give a damn. I am LAREN Maxstar Moore.
And I am the highly regarded multi-hyphenate Vince Eustace.
And you know, you guys, you already know. Season 2, you guys. We are season 2, and what is this? Episode 5, I believe.
5.
Season 2, episode 5 of Popcorn
And Booze.
I said a gurgle, 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 gurgle. I don't got any booze. I feel left out. I've got Tropicana juice.
I'm used to drinking alone.
I should spike this bitch right now. Spike the fuck out of it. Like they used to do at high schools. They used to spike the punch. They never spiked the punch when I was in high school.
Yeah, they never did that at my school. It was only on like Family Matters.
Yeah. That's funny you say that because that's true. That's the only time you ever saw shit like that. Was on, like, some 80s or 90s sitcom. Like, it's like, did that shit ever really happen? Remember when Urkel got spiked and he was drunk at the party?
Yeah, Lorenz Tate, after he did the Urkel dance.
That was the Urkel. Do the Urkel. Urkel. That's what we do here, you guys. We talk about pop culture and movies and television shows like Family Matters, stuff that I grew up on in the 90s, because I'm a 90s kid. And I'm an early 2000s generation is what I like to call myself, because that was when I came into fruition. Excuse me. Did I say fruition? I did.
You did.
I was fruitful. I wasn't a fruit, but I was fruitful. Fruition. My time was the early 2000s. I missed the early 2000s greatly. That was the best time for pop culture for me. I was also a hungry young man trying to be a rapper. Still am a hungry and still trying to fucking be a rapper. Not much has changed. God, I need to do something with my life. All right. You guys, like I said, we have a special episode today, you guys. We've got a guest, which we're going to be introducing very soon. But first, before we do that, should we get into our one and only official segment and topic today, Vince Eustace?
Yes, let's talk about something that kind of was big news recently. The Academy Award nominated actor Elliot Page came out as transgender.
Yep.
I know we're not supposed to dead name. I think at this point everyone knows who Elliot Page is and what he has done in the past. But Elliot Page was a new name that came out, and we knew that he identified as queer, but now we know that he identifies as being transgender and non-binary, which you and I were talking about. And I'll be honest, I'm very, not very ignorant, but it's like I'm ignorant about transgendered. I not because but I have so much more to learn. So I'm learning, and this is the great thing that Elliot is doing. So I get to know his pronouns are he and they, and I think he said them as well. And so yeah, I think it's great. I think it's shining a nice light on the transgender community in terms of representation. There obviously is going to be some pushback. A manly man, Ben Shapiro, has talked about how he does not care for this. I think Candace Owens was mad at Harry Styles for something else.
Wait, what was the first name you just named that didn't care for it? I missed the first name.
Ben Shapiro.
Named. Oh wow, okay.
Ben Shapiro got his panties in a bunch about it, and yeah, it's mostly conservatives who are upset, but it's not just conservatives, but people I think it's people who just don't understand. They think if you're biologically born one way, like that's who you are, and
that's who you should stay. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if someone's like, "Hey, this is who I want to be." Like they're being very combative about it. So, what's your take on Elliot Page stepping out and opening out and letting everyone know?
Listen, however he wants to conduct his life and himself, it doesn't affect me none. I'm usually very indifferent about stuff like that because I really genuinely just don't care. Let a person live their life how they want to live it. If that's what he feels he is comfortable with and is okay with and that's who he wants to be, then that's he has every right to do so. And we just live in a society, and it's always been like this. We live in a very judgmental society where people just don't know how to shut the fuck up and mind their own business. I don't think every time somebody comes out, it needs to be big news, but I also know why they do it, because that's still an issue in this day and age, unfortunately. People are still like, and being a person of color, I definitely can understand LGBTQ, their stance on wanting equality as well. I don't think it's the same. I cannot compare an African American struggle to the LGBTQ struggle. I don't make the comparisons, but it's in the same conversation. And I think equality is just the key. This is what I always say on the show. It's all about equality. It's all about, again, why does it, if it's not affecting you in any shape or form, there's no reason to be judgmental or hateful towards somebody wanting to live their life the way they want to live it. I know one of the things that has been an issue, or at least that people are going to say is going to be an issue, or it's been brought up on multiple forums. It made the rounds. What was this? Just a couple days ago, right?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, sorry, I accidentally unmuted.
You muted me there.
Sorry,
no, you're good.
Sorry, because sorry about that. Deshawn's muting keeps going off, and then I went to unmute. I went to mute him again, and I was like, "Wow, Laren's being uncharacteristically quiet. Something must be wrong."
Hey Vince, wrong black man. I know we all look alike. But no, back to the whole Ellen Page situation. I know one of the biggest issues Elliot, formerly Ellen Page, now Elliot. My apologies. The issues that a lot of people like us are having, or a lot of these forums are having, is how is he going to be cast now? And not only that, how are his past performances going to be affected? As far as any accolades, awards, or anything that he was that he was gifted when he identified as a woman. Again, that's that is a rough situation, and I've actually heard a few people say that nobody said that it's going to be lilies and roses for Elliot going forward. I'm sure he's well aware of the trials and tribulations he's now got to face because of this, but again, it's something I think. Listen, let a person live their life, figure it out. I'm sure they will. The point is, he's still in the industry. He's still an active actor and
doing very well too.
And apparently doing well. But he's on the what is it? The Umbrella Academy? Is that the show called? What's the show called? Apparently, that's
I think
like
it's
one of
Umbrella
the.
Academy.
I think yeah. Apparently, that's like one of the #1 shows right now. It's doing really well. I mean, I don't know the numbers. I don't watch the show, but it's a really good show, and kudos to him for doing what he wants with his life. People need to mind their own fucking business. Let him do him, as they say.
I mean, I could be mistaken because again, I said I'm painfully ignorant about these sort of things. I would assume that in terms of past performances, like the third X-Men movie and Juno, since he is playing a cisgender female, I think that's the term.
At the time, yeah. At the time, yeah.
Like that's going to like those are still going to be like I don't think Juno all of a sudden is going to be the character is going to be retroactively turned into a man or a boy. I don't think. I would assume it's like, oh, listen, he's an actor playing a role. Like that doesn't change. I just think it's interesting. Again, with people who are upset about these sort of things are also the same people who are upset about, I guess, gender norms and being the same thing with Harry Styles wearing the dress. With Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro we're talking about, and they're like, oh, like you need to be manly, man. And it's like not a lot of dudes are wearing dresses, so like don't worry about that. And so when they're saying, oh, he needs, like, for example, if Harry Styles all of a sudden came out, they're like, you're not being a manly man. If he was like, well, I actually identify as being a woman, they're going to flip out about that, even though they just said that he wasn't being a man.
Right.
So
in other words,
hit the nail on the head. In other words,
I was going to say, in other words,
hit the nail on that.
You can't win. You can't win. Like
Yeah.
Michael Jackson said in The Wiz, you can't win.
Yeah.
Exactly. Finish what you were saying, though. I know you were saying.
I think you hit the nail on the head where it's just kind of like, all right, yeah, just mind your own business.
That's all. Just mind your, like on Fresh Prince. Just mind your business.
I think it's also just a simple thing of just like being nice, just being like nice to people. Respectful. Like don't be combative. If someone's like, hey, this is making me happy, I'm not hurting anyone. Like this is what we're doing. Like don't make it your life mission to be like, nope. And I will like to go out of your way to like throw the dead name out there and to be like, nope, like you're a woman and you'll always be a woman. It's like who cares?
And that's how people are these days. It's always kind of been like that, but even more so with the advent of social media. People feel when it comes to situations of gender identity, when it comes to situations of color, ethnicity, any culture, when it comes to that, people feel they need to always take pop shots at those subjects. What happened to just saying fuck you? Why does a person have to be the F word? Why does a person have to be the N word? Like there's always people just like to take digs at something that's out of your control, gender wise and culture wise, and identity, any of that. Like, grow the fuck up. I've been watching some of the comments and people are just going in on Elliot, and it's just like, this motherfucker ain't.
Because people can't relate. Like for example, like we can't be like, oh, I feel like a woman. So you think we live in such a bubble and that we're like, oh, if I don't feel this, no one else feels this. You're just like, you're being sick. You don't get it. And it's like, no, other people outside of you and your circle have like different feelings and wants and needs. And sometimes people in your circle have those too. And they'll tell you that. And you're just going to ignore them and be like, oh, no, you're sick or you don't know what you're talking about. It's bullshit.
Yeah, well, I will say this whole Elliot Page thing has inspired me to want to be my true self, Vince. And
you're flirting with a very.
I've been wanting to, as of late, I've been wanting to identify as a bridge because I like bridging gaps. That's okay, right?
Okay, all right.
Too soon?
All right.
Too soon? Too real? Too real?
That was. I was worried for a second. I still don't sign off on this.
I know.
Because you said for a second
you didn't know where I was going.
Sounded like those types of people, but then you kind of flipped it at the end. I was like, all right, man. Like it was a decent landing. So
I'm a professional.
The two people who watch the show won't get mad at us.
Exactly. I'm a professional on the show. That's number one. On number two, more than anything, I'm a damn comedian. You should know that, please. Get your priorities straight. You know me better than that, sir. But no, all joking aside,
It
no, you
almost
have to
sounded
be
like you said Richard priority straight.
Richard priority straight. Oh, okay. Yeah. I could
Yep.
dig that. I dig that. I love Richard Pryor. I love me some Richard Pryor. Matter of fact, on the last episode, we spoke about the Richard Pryor bio. Still waiting on that. Still waiting on that. Get it together, folks. But all joking aside, man, with this situation, you're right. You got to be careful. Listen, this is just somebody made a point of something I read on the net, obviously on social media. I guess just real quick to harp on it before we get to our guest, our special guest today. Um, Apparently, the movie Monster Hunter that's coming out with Mila Jovovich, I think that's how you pronounce her name. Apparently, in that film, there is a kind of culturally insensitive joke geared towards Asian people, Chinese people, specifically. And because of that, like the movie is now banned in China. Like they took it off the market over there. Um, and I do believe we live in a very sensitive world. I do believe people take things way too seriously into the harder times, especially me being a comedian. I'll never change my stance on that. Comedy is comedy, fun is fun. But somebody made a good point, and I agree. It's not always that people are sensitive. It's not always that people are soft. It's not always that we're too PC. Sometimes it is, but it's not always the case. Sometimes it's a case of, and this person, I wish I could. I'm not saying this verbatim, and I wish I could quote this person's name because I just thought it was great. But they made a point of saying it's not about that. Sometimes it's just people are sick of being mocked and made fun of in a world where it was cool to mock and make fun of people. And now people have a voice because of social media, and they want to stand up with that voice. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that at all. When it comes to certain things, sometimes you got to stand up for yourself, and that equates to this whole Elliot Page situation. It's people are just tired of being mocked sometimes. So we're in an era now where we can stand up for what's right, and I totally agree with that notion. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because that's what it is, and that's what it is. So, any final words on this situation, sir, before we introduce our
Uh,
guest here?
no, it was interesting. Even before Elliot came out as transgender, I was kind of I came across this YouTube channel. I think his name is Sam. I want to say his last name's Collins. And I randomly just came across his YouTube channel because he was like making fun of some people that I don't like. So I was like, oh, this is funny. And he seems to have like a good head on his shoulders. I'm like, oh, funny dude. And then I found out later that he was transgendered, and I think he
Oh, wow.
was post-op, I believe, and because he's like, he's got like better dudes on, and so I was like, okay. So I was like trying to I was like just get into his videos because I was like, oh, like one, he's funny and I like what he has to say, but I was trying to sort of get into sort of an area that I don't know much about. So even prior to that, I was kind of interested in just learning more because, and like we've talked about this with everything going on with racial injustice and Black Lives Matter. I feel there's a lot of people who aren't paying attention to another side. So, and I feel that goes for a lot of other areas, not just race. It has to do with sexual orientation and, how you relate in terms of your gender, or like gender not being like a thing. Some people are like, oh, gender is like, there's no such thing as gender. So stuff that I've come across and been like, oh, here's how I was taught or how I feel about certain things. Let me see it from another perspective. So I think it's great. And I think that it's a good learning experience if you're willing to open your mind and accept it.
I concur, sir. And with that being said, kudos and congrats, Elliot Page, for making for making not only that stand, but doing something in a society that's still very hard to do, and that's
Yep.
and that's be yourself, which I think is
Exactly.
terrible. So great, kudos to him. I wish him all the best in his future endeavors, and leave that man alone.
WWE didn't fire him or anything.
I know that sounds like a WWE release I just said right now, but kudos to him. Good, and congrats to him. With that being said, I think it's about that time, sir. This gentleman that we're going to be, I was about to say we're going to be bringing out like we're in a sound stage somewhere, and you can come out the back through a curtain. This person we're going to be presenting to you or showcasing to you is actually uh, it's kind of interesting how I met this gentleman. It's not really all that it was. I mean, obviously it was like most things. It was through social media, but I'll give a quick backstory. I I do a lot of postings and I do a lot of submitting, I should say, to a lot of online forums like LA Casting and just anything that's casting independently or mainstream, whatever the situation is. I'm not union. I'm non-SAG, so I usually go for as many non-union, non-SAG AFTRA gigs as I can, to work. Um, and I think I submitted to something on Facebook to one of the forums that I always submit to, and I got a random email from this gentleman. Not only and it was the weirdest thing about it. It was an email not relating to what I had submitted to. So it was kind of random, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Who's this?" I saw the name. I saw it was a production company, and I was just like, "Okay, this is interesting." And I opened up the email, and it was a gentleman by the name of Deshawn Hill, I believe, telling
You
me that
believe?
I believe, yes. he's like, he's like, my name is right there, nigga.
Not
You
sure.
can just look it
If I
down.
had to wager a guess.
At the time, I was unsure.
Okay.
It said hill, but it looked like mountain. But no, I'm kidding. Uh, it was this gentleman telling me that not only did was he interested in me as an actor, he actually wanted to cast me in a leading role. And I thought that was amazing because I didn't even submit for the project he offered me. I didn't even submit for that. It was just he came across my submission. I think I had a reel attached to it, or the previous short film before it. I had attached to it. I don't even remember. All I know is he hit me up and he offered me an opportunity and a paying gig. By the way, that's right, you filmmakers out there. If it's a struggle out here. If you can pay your performers, try to. A lot of those performers don't ask for much. Just give them something. I'm at the point now. I'll take a Kit Kat and some laundry quarters. God, something. Give me something. Uh, and this gentleman did that. And the gentleman I am talking about is our second guest. You guys, Would you like to do the official honors, Mr. Vince?
Sure. He is a multi hyphenate. He's an actor. He's a writer, director. He edits, produces. He does it all. Hailing
Boom, boom,
from
boom, boom, boom,
Champaign,
boom, boom,
Illinois.
boom,
Please welcome to the
boom.
show, DESHAWN Hill. I believe.
How's it going, guys?
Hey,
I gave him the Ric
wait.
Flair. He got the Ric
I know,
Flair intro.
but if you don't stop talking, we can't see him.
There he is.
I appreciate the Ric Flair entrance. I appreciate that.
Hey, Deshaun, man, how are you, man? Thank you for being on the show, brother. We appreciate you.
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
I hope you appreciated that intro and the little backstory of how I met you. I thought, all joking aside, man, I want to thank you for all the opportunities you've been offering me, man, and that was a blessing during that time. And I'm just also realizing when we did that film, and I it's still in the process of being, it's in post production. I'm assuming right now still.
Right,
Um,
right.
when we first started filming that, man, it was literally right before COVID hit, dude. That's a trip, man. Matter of
Yeah,
fact, Matter of fact, it was right around the time Kobe died. Because remember, we saw the Kobe stuff downtown LA.
yeah. It was. It was. I had originally started to plan this for the fall season, but then it took me a little while to get everything together. But yeah, right before COVID, we finally got that first project done, the first of 5. We're on the way to finishing all 5. Hopefully, in 2021, the government, the city, will allow us to be in a theater somewhere, and we can put it on a big screen and really get some eyes on it.
Absolutely, man, and that's what it's all about, man. Let's get through this crazy pandemic and let's all work, man. I'm
100%.
gonna kick it over to Vince in a sec, but I will open up by saying, man, uh, if you're comfortable with it, tell us a little bit. I always like to go to the backstory because I like to know where it
Sure,
starts.
sure,
Tell us a little bit about your childhood, man, and where you're from, where you grew up, and
sure. So,
Vince could take it from there.
sure. So, I was born in Champaign-Illinois, a small project, called the Manors. That's where I was born at. We, big family, like probably about 8 or 9 kids. I'm the middle kid. So, my solace was being kind of on my own, doing my thing. But I always had friends, things like that. But when I was born, I had 2 heart surgeries when my heart was on the wrong side and my
Oh
arteries were
wow.
taken in my chest,
Oh
etc.
wow. Yeah.
So I wasn't the most active kid. Um, I think that kind of led me to watching more and more TV and movies and really just kind of falling in love with what that is. And I'm here today from it. So I'm grateful for that.
Awesome, man. Vince, you wanna kind of piggyback off of that and
So yeah,
go
I
ahead
saw
for?
that your nickname was TV growing up.
Yeah.
What TV shows did you like watch that sort of like influenced you?
Oh man. Influenced by literally everything because I watched all of it really. But things I really remember, like things that really stood out to me growing up. You guys remember Gary Coleman had a cartoon where he was an angel?
Oh wow.
Wait, what?
I think
No.
so.
This
Did
is
he?
like I'm going back in the day to like old TV. I watched a lot of TV as a kid. Gary Coleman had a cartoon where every day he would like come down from the heavens and be a regular student in school, and it was like I swear
Oh wow. Okay.
But
I'm
like,
very
I'm not saying what year did you watch it. What year would you say this came out? Because I remember there was like, at the video store. There's a bunch of old Gary Coleman videos. I think were like straight to video type
Straight to
stuff.
video.
And there was
Yeah.
one where he looked like an angel, but it looked like live action. So that
so
might be
this is a
something different.
cartoon. This is a cartoon.
Okay.
I believe it was an '80s show, but I watched it in the
Okay.
'90s. Like probably reruns when I watched it.
Mm-hmm. All
That's
right.
interesting,
I'll
man.
definitely have to check that out.
I didn't. I don't think I. That sounds kind of familiar, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to Google that.
Man, you gotta definitely Google it. So that Gary Coleman was a cartoon. That was like something I really remember as a kid. I used to watch like Third Rock from the Sun a whole bunch, like The Nanny. Like I was big into sitcoms and Who Framed Roger Rabbit was a big one for me. A lot of
Classic.
kid stuff,
Classic.
but
Classic.
also like I remember I would like watch movies with my mom, and she would be watching like some really good stuff. Like so, Donnie Brasco was an early movie for me with Al Pacino and Johnny Depp, and that is like something so interesting to me because we often see Al Pacino as the top guy in the mob, the top boss. In Donnie Brasco, he's a lowlife. He's a guy who has no rank. He has no power. He gets pushed around the whole time. And as a kid, I'm not, taking this in 100%, but I am taking in those images. I am seeing those things. And Donnie Brasco is still, to this day, I watched it recently, still a really good movie. Um, you know, those type of things really affected how I would see story going forward and how I would see different things. But I wasn't really in the film yet. I was just kind of enjoying it at that point.
It's funny you talk about
Okay.
Donnie Brasco because a dope bar from Biggie off the all about the Benjamins is the bar where he goes, nigga be kicking me in my asshole undercover. Donnie Brasco, killing it. Sorry, I
Yeah,
had to bring that up. That just
yeah.
made me think of that Biggie rhyme.
I'm telling you, 100%.
Absolutely, man. Vince, you want to?
So you mentioned that you like had some stuff with your heart growing up, and that kept you from being like maybe as active as like some of the other
Yeah.
kids. So like you were watching TV, and then I read that like, oh, then you felt like the way to funnel your creative outlet another way. At what point did you start kind of being like, hey,
So
I love watching TV, but I'm going to start doing my own stuff?
that didn't come for a long time, because I was in high school, literally just alive, just hanging out. You know, I had friends, we kick it, we do all this stuff, go out, all this stuff, but I wasn't thinking about film in that way. It really started when, like 2010, right after I graduated from college, I kind of decided that I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing. At first, I was in construction. I was doing construction and and construction is cool. I got family that does construction now, and I followed in footsteps of people before me. They followed behind me, but I left out of construction. I just wanted, it's something that I think around 2010, 2009, I really started to try and create my own thing. I remember being literally I used to work at State Farm, the customer service company for State Farm. And I remember literally just writing a script as I'm talking to you on the phone, and I'm on pen and paper, and I'm literally just brain throwing up all over all of my ideas, just consistently writing. And that's still one of my favorite scripts that I have now. It's called The Roots of a Stubborn Oak. So that's 10 years in the making. I haven't shot it yet. I haven't done anything with it yet, but I'm still trying to just perfect it and maybe give it to somebody to shoot, or maybe, see if a network wants or something like that. But I think genuinely at that time, it was really just the idea. And I went to theater class. Not theater class. In high school, I went to the theater program because there was a girl there that I was actually really interested in. And yeah, man, she was really cute, and I was like super feeling her. We would talk all the time, but she was in theater. I'm like, yo, this is a perfect chance for me to just hang out with her more. And so I get on theater, and we're on the costume team or whatever it's called, and we're hanging out. But I really start to see the energy that people have, the creativity. And I'm not 100% a theater guy. I'm more of a film, TV guy, but I do respect theater a great deal. But they kind of showed me that first little pinch of, this is actually possible. You can do something with this, and so yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool, and I like the metaphor that you use, that your brain threw up all over the page. Like that's I don't think I've
really
actually heard that before. I appreciate metaphors.
Man, the first
like
time
that,
it happened, it really was just like, you would call it an outline now, but at that point it was just word vomit, and it was just a lot of the story that I was going to tell. And that story that I have not produced yet, Roots of a Stubborn Oak, feature drama, is about 130 pages. That actually started from the last about 2 minutes of Sugar Hill. If anyone of you ever seen that, Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes, man, good film.
Yeah,
good film.
Exactly. At the end of the movie, him and his brother are just clashing about two different lifestyles, And I didn't watch the whole movie. I literally walked in on that part of the end of the movie, and my mind just started. That's like a perfect idea for a movie. Two brothers, best friends, who are connected, but life is tearing them apart. So that's what that is.
That's cool, man. I mean, that's what it's all about, brother. That's what it's all about. I want to say, because I always think, and I know you brought up some things and some gems. You also brought up Donnie Brasco, and then Vince can piggyback off this as well. What were your biggest influences? Like, I know you mentioned Donnie Brasco, but from both perspectives, actual film and filmmakers, who were some of your biggest influences and inspirations? Who made, I don't want to say made you, but everybody, like, style. Right. Yeah, like who influences you? Because I always see, like, I'm a performer, I'm a hip hop artist, I'm a comedian. I try to be as original as possible, but there's always somebody we pull from. There's somebody 100%. We take the fishing reel and we're like, damn, this is the lane I want to go to, in my own way. So who's that for you?
100%. So for me, like, the first time I saw Crooklyn as a little kid, it was almost scary to me how visual Spike Lee made that movie. Yeah. Where they're sniffing the glue and she's floating through the clouds, and it was terrifying. But I'm like 9, 10, and it's really like captivating me in the worst way, because I'm scared of it, because it's like, this world is so ground level, it's so realistic that it feels like this glue is some shit that I've never touched ever in my life.
Right.
That kind of influenced me. Also, I would say Tarantino. I can't. So Spike Lee, Tarantino. I can't ever deny Tarantino. He makes masterpieces. I would also say Paul Thomas Anderson is really, really, really talented. I would say that There Will Be Blood is one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's kind of, you know, it's similar to the story of Icarus or the Citizen Kane story, where you get too big, you get too much of what you wanted, and it starts to tear you down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now for me coming up, I think I'm starting to really enjoy Robert Eggers, who made The Lighthouse recently. That movie was really transcendent to me. It really taught me a lot. I'm not sure if you guys have seen The Lighthouse, directed by Robert Eggers, but it's basically, to me, it's Fight Club with you know, sailors and
Is that the film with Robert Pattinson?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
That was the film. That wasn't the film that I knew Robert Pattinson was talented, because I saw him in The World of Z, which is a great performance by him. But that was the movie that really kind of like solidified what art is. You know, we don't need the numbers. The numbers is cool and all of this stuff, but we really have to be saying something and showing something in our works. And for me, that movie is all about the lack of discipline. This man goes crazy by the lack of discipline. I don't believe that the other character is actually even there. I think the other character is him, and he's kind of battling with himself the entire time, and then he eventually goes crazy. So that's those type of things really affect me as a filmmaker. So I just have to say Spike Lee, Quentin Tarantino, Paul Thomas Anderson. I guess that'd be my top 3 directors. Let's see. For film inspiration.
Yeah.
There Will Be Blood. West Side Story is the best movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that while we were filming, and I was like, "That's interesting."
Genuinely
Great music, great score too, amazing score.
Great music, and it's the thing of, you know, forcing greatness, because he made them literally break themselves for the greatness of this movie. He literally got fired because he did so many takes of the dance and the singing, all of this stuff. And that's really, you know, not to break your actor, but to command the greatness out of him, to really get it. And he hit the mark with it. So that's kind of, those are things that really affect me going forward.
I see Vince smiling. You must really agree with that.
Have you ever had to do that as like when you directed? Like, have you ever like felt like, oh, we got to like run this take again and again, you know, just to get what I'm looking for?
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, we have a guest. Let him answer.
I know that firsthand. Yeah, I've been in one of his projects.
So look. We don't really do it to get that, but sometimes it's a necessary evil, you know? So it's like sometimes the main actor, they're kind of wouldn't say not ready, but when you get into a role and you do it 100 times, you're gonna be better than the first time, 100%.
Yeah.
And so if you do coverage and then come back to him, that performance can be that much better. So you will take some more takes and make sure that they're feeling it before you go to that main shot, and just make sure that they're ready and on time and primed for that time. So yes, at times I will do that, but it's not, you know, exponentially for that moment, just to work them, just to get them tired and sweaty and all of this. It's just, you know, a byproduct of what we're doing.
Cool. Now I looked up a couple of things that you've done, including some interviews, and I know you stated that you're more drawn to like more grounded, realistic stories.
Yes.
But you've also mentioned that because West Side Story is your favorite movie, there are elements of it, obviously, as a musical, like where they just break out singing and dancing and stuff like that. So I was wondering, what about West Side Story, besides the, you know, sort of like fantastical musical elements of it, like really drew you in? And then also, what about Well, I'll ask the second part later because I don't want to like throw too much at you right now. But I guess that part.
Okay. So for me, I've learned Romeo and Juliet in school over years, of course, and it truly is a classic story. Like when you think about story dynamics, the main part of a story is conflict. And in the Romeo and Juliet, the greatest part is the conflict of, I want this girl, but I can't have her. She wants me, but she can't have me. Our families hate each other, da 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 da. When you get that and you mix it with ground level kind of street mentality, even though they're guys from the 50s, 60s, you know, white gangs, which is cool. I have no problem with that. Those type of things resonate with me. So it wasn't a kingdom in Shakespeare's story. It was a New York gang, you know, a New York family, two New York families trying to figure it out. And I really enjoyed that. I think the music enhances that movie. The music in that movie is genuinely, every song pushes the story forward, explains character, explains the conflict, and the music is greatly done. I love the step numbers. I like it all, man, and I genuinely think it's probably one of the top movies ever made.
Oh, you're still on mute, Laren. I didn't mute you this time, so you can't yell at me.
No, it was me that time. No, I concur, dude. The music in that film is it's out of control good, because it sets the tone for the story so tremendously. It
100%.
really sets. Oh my God, it sets the
100%.
tone.
Can
So
I just
great,
say something real quick? There's a scene in West Side Story where the two characters finally meet each other, and the graphics are not great on this, but I'm the type of person, I don't care about graphics. I care about what your intention is and what you're trying to do. So the first time they see each other, the entire world goes black besides them two. And they're in the middle of a ballroom and the whole room is dancing, but all they see is each other. All the dancers separate and they kind of float together. And then you get that butterfly in the stomach feeling where they're kind of floating around each other and eventually kiss. And that was really one of the things that really will stick with me forever from that movie.
No, man, I agree, man, because it's so symbolic, and that's what makes a good film. To kind of harp on that, man, about as far as films, you know, you mentioned Down Nebraska, you mentioned West Side Story.
For sure.
As far as you as a filmmaker personally, what would you say your stylization is as far as your cinematography, the look of the film? For instance, I'll give you a couple examples. J.J. Abrams, he's known for having the light glint on a lot of his films. Michael Bay is known for the intense panning shots and fast editing. And as a matter of fact, and I think both you gentlemen saw this, to me, one of Michael Bay's greatest shots is the iconic hero shot from Bad Boys. All three movies. That shit gives me goosebumps and chills every time I see it. Every movie, I'm just like, wow. You know, and I know he didn't direct the third one, but that was still a Michael Bay, Don Simpson, Jerry Bruckheimer technique. 100%. And that is one of my favorite. I mean, I have a lot, but that's one of my favorite. When it comes to stuff like that, what would you say is your personal style? What camera shots do you like? What camera angles? What effects do you like to use? Colorization, editing.
So for me, I'm actually not a huge effects guy. I want to be as practical as I can. So if I have a cap gun, I'd much rather use that than adding the bullets. You know, if I have a certain light, I'd much rather use that than adding a light.
Practical. Yeah.
I just want to be practical. But it's also for me, just the angles mean everything to me. Like if you can get a good angle and make it cinematic, you know, for me, advice I would give to, you know, filmmakers, we have to work on our angles. Like when you just point the camera right at somebody and he's right in the middle of the shot, that's not cinematic. It looks like, you know, a YouTube video. So that's not what we're going for. We're going for tilt the camera here, you know, hold it up here to make them look smaller, hold it down here to make them look more powerful. All those things for me is just being as cinematic as I can. That was my first thought when I was making movies. I just want my things to feel like they belong on the big screen. And I feel like I've accomplished that, and still very grounded. I'm not into like sci-fi or fantasy so much. Nothing against those. They're just not my cup of tea necessarily. But I think, you know, just cinematic, great angles. I love holding a good shot. and kind of building that intensity in that one shot and just keeping it there for a minute and then cutting away to release that tension. But it's really, it's the craft for me. I don't really want to manipulate it too much, but I want to try and figure out what we can do in the basis of the story.
I'm gonna bring up something real quick, then I'm gonna kick it over to Vince. Just to harp on what you're saying. In the film that we're actually still in the midst of doing, I don't want to give away too much, but
Right.
the film Thursday that we're doing, there's a fight scene. Obviously you remember that, you wrote it.
Yeah.
There's a fight scene in the film, and I remember when I watched back the footage and I watched the playback. There was a really cool, as me and the antagonists are tussling. You do this really great kind of circling panning shot, and it just reminded me of a Michael Bay. It reminded me of Spike Lee when he does that tilt-a-whirl. You know, it was very cinematic, and
100%.
I feel where you're coming from, man, because I saw that in that, man. So
I
just wanted to
appreciate
bring
that, man.
just an honorable mention. I just wanted to bring that up because when I saw the playback, I was like, oh shit, I look like a star. I was like, oh, that shit look dope. I was like,
it looks great, man. A lot of those stuff is really good, bro. You did great in that movie. First off, I want to say thank you for that.
No, thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you.
It was a lot of fun to shoot. I can't wait to show everybody what we've been working on, and yeah, man, I'm just trying to make it real. You know, I don't want to play around with it. I don't want to.
Take your time, brother. Take your time, man.
Exactly. I just want it to make it real. You know, I want it to be something theater worthy. I love the theater. You know, I'm not a big streamer. I'm not like a Netflix. Netflix is okay, but you know, I want to be in the theater. I want to see everything how it's supposed to be seen. You know, so that's my stance, and hopefully my movies represent that.
Awesome, kudos, man, kudos.
Yeah.
Vince, it's on you, my friend.
So, DESHAWN, in terms of, because you were in Illinois,
Yes,
at what point were you like, all right, I need to get to Los Angeles?
Oh man, this is spooky. People might not believe me, but I literally was shooting. So before I changed the title of my first film, when I was telling you I was writing in my job, it was called Brother's Keeper instead of Roots of a Stubborn Oak. And that's like a very classic name now. Like people use that a lot now for their film, Brother's Keeper. So, but I tried to shoot that the first time, and it was going okay, but it wasn't like a professional shoot. It was just me with a camera, just trying stuff. And that went down the hill, but I genuinely had a dream in my place. I woke up and everything was like in my room. It's like existential, genuinely. And I woke up and like everything in my room was blue, and I was looking around and I felt like I wasn't even there, but I was there. And
wow.
And and this is 100% true. I'm not embellishing at all. And I woke up the next morning and it's like, I gotta go to LA. This is not enough for me. I need to go to LA. I need to make it very real. Because where I'm from, it's a small town in Champaign, you know. It's growing now, a few years later, but it's a small town, and it's a little limited in there, you know. So there's opportunity, but it's a little limited. So I knew that if I was to stay there, I would always be on YouTube. I'd always be that guy, you know. So for me, it was important for me to go somewhere where it was real, that I wasn't the only person that thought it was real, that it could be real, and I just had to go, and that was the point that I decided I'm leaving.
Cool. How what would you say are like the?
No, go ahead, Vince. No.
Or you? I'll say real quick, and then you.
No, go ahead.
What would you say are the major differences for you between filming in LA versus filming in Champaign-Illinois?
Not many major differences, actually. You can film wherever you want. I would suggest to filmmakers you can film wherever you want. It's just for me, the community needs to take it seriously. So it was a nice film community there where they had like some people that were trying to do stuff, and you know, but it was always a part-time thing. It was always like, yeah, but I'm a you know, go to work after this, and then I can hit you up and then we can shoot and then we can, but I got my girl after this. And I wanted to come to a place where this was everything for everyone, you know, and that's really important to me. Like, I want to take it seriously. And not to say that no one in Champaign didn't take it seriously, but I wanted to take it very seriously. I wanted to take it like, this is what I'm doing. And if I'm not doing it, then I'm not doing anything. So that's the difference. It's a little more relaxed out there, outside of LA. Like, I think LA is, how can I put this? It's a little more pro-minded, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I could agree with that. That definitely
Right.
is a good, that's a good term to use. And I didn't mean to interrupt Vince earlier, because the question he asked, I was actually kind of the same question, but to harp on that, is what really genuinely has your experience been like in LA? I mean, do you, I know you said this is the place to be, people are pro-minded, this is, if you want to do film, if you want to be a performer, this is the place to be. How has it affected you personally being in Los Angeles? Because this is a rough town, man. This is
It's a rough town. It's a rough town, but you know, I've actually grown to love it because I understand that it's a rough town, but no one owes anybody anything anyway, you know? So it's not like I'm expecting hugs when I walk down the street, you know?
Yeah.
I don't need any of that from anyone. So I'm just here for people who say, I like what you do. I like what that is and what that is. And maybe you can come do that with me and we can kind of figure it out. That's here. That's what I get here. So I think in LA, it starts off, you can kind of feel a little alone, but I would suggest people who feel alone to realize that you are alone and you've been alone since you were born. So take that and run with it and understand that you have something of value, you know, you have something of value that you can give to people, and then you won't be alone anymore. You just we have to cultivate ourselves to be what we're supposed to be. I think LA helped me do that. It kind of made me grow up a little bit because, you know, I came here 10 years ago the first time. In 2011, I moved here and it didn't work out. I was here for about 8 months, you know, and it was good. I met people. I'm telling you, the first job I ever got, I was on a set with Deborah Cox from Saturday Night Live. And it was really fun, but I wasn't ready for that type of stuff yet. I just wasn't mentally prepped. I was still at home, you know, back home. Like when you're from the type of areas that I'm from, where, you know, it's a little tougher. It's not so friendly. You know, you're not the most outgoing person. You know, you're not the most friendly, and that's what you need in LA. You need to be able to say hi to this person and shake his hand and look him in the eye. And I wasn't there yet. I was still trying to, you know, be something that's like, it was me at the time, but it was a closed off version of me. So LA has only made me better, only made me grow, made me realize that it's up to me, but it's possible. So I just see endless possibility in LA, and that's what I see genuinely.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Cool. So you worked on a few projects. LAREN sent me some links. And so I'm trying to think. You've done Holly. You've done Agent Venture. Is there a certain genre? Because I know you like say like ground. Yeah. Like, is there a certain genre you like sort of like to stick to?
Nah, I like drama, thriller, action. You know, anything that kind of has a little bit of heart, a little bit of plug to it. I don't want to do anything too kiddie. You know, that's not really my vibe. Like family movies and things like that. It's not really my vibe. I just want something that's going to tell a story. My thing for film is I want to change the way a person looks at the world after they see the movie. That's what real film is to me. Like when you see a good movie, you start to realize that that person could be me, and I could make that same decision, or I can go the other way. So back to There Will Be Blood. This is a story about a guy who's a oil baron, where he's going to get all the oil in the city, in the state, and he's a monster at it. And he's a dog though, so he's savage. Like he doesn't care about anything. And for a while, that was really me, like really forcing the issue on everything regarding the film. But at the end of the film, he's alone and he's disheveled and he's weak and he's losing in life, but he's successful, you know? So those type of things teach you, and it literally taught me that I have to you can still be aggressive about it. You can still be intentional, but you don't have to alienate. You don't have to hurt people to get there. And that movie really taught me, and that's really my goal. Like when I make movies, I want people to see that, you know, in these characters, we see ourselves if we do it right. And we see our flaws, and hopefully, you know, we can go and be better after leaving the theater.
That's an interesting take, man. And I couldn't help but focus on the the part of you saying, you know, you're not really into family entertainment. So I guess we won't be getting Are We There Yet 3? No Home Alone, no Home Alone 4. Spy Kids.
The checks on those are crazy though, so you never really know.
Hey, listen, man. Hey, listen, Robert Rodriguez, he did Spy Kids and Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and
right.
You know,
and to be
that
fair,
man's done some great stuff.
Right, and to be fair, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Genuinely, like to make a movie where your whole family can spend time together and laugh at the same thing, and now be friends with maybe your daughter who was mad at you about something, or your brother who was mad at you about something. That's a great thing. But just for me, I think I'm really into the gritty stuff, the grounded stuff. It really pulls at my heartstrings because that's kind of what I went through. Like a lot of the stuff, I want it to be a little bit tougher. I want it to be, you know, film is where, well, I'm not sure now because, you know, the culture has changed a little bit, but film is a place where you could say the bad thing. And we understand that it's not you saying it, that's that character living that moment. And he goes through that bad moment where he raped a person, or he cut somebody out, or called him a faggot, or anything like that. Film is where that should be okay, you know, and that's where I want to kind of take it, and that's kind of my vibe.
That's dope, man. That's really dope. I actually talking about your projects. Vince was talking about your projects. I actually enjoyed Quarantine. I was watching that earlier today.
Thank you.
That was a cool little short, man. It was suspenseful. It reminded me of like a very suspenseful build-up type film to where there's
100%. Shout out to Casey Washington. He did great. He thought of the whole thing. He's a mastermind over there. So shout out to Casey Washington.
Yeah, I like stuff like that.
Was that the bridge in Pasadena?
Yes, Suicide Bridge.
Yeah.
No,
my wife, every time we
that.
drive by it, she's always like, "Oh, people jump off that bridge." And it's like, "Oh, that's depressing."
That's the first thing you think of, huh, honey?
Yeah,
okay.
No,
it was a good short, man, and I enjoyed it because like I said, it had that espionage, very suspenseful, you know, kind of like the movie Buried with Ryan Reynolds, where just this epic climax, you don't expect it. And I'm a sucker for Greek tragedies, for films ending
Me too, man.
Not so great. I love when the hero dies sometimes. So
100%. That's why I love the story of Icarus so much, you know? Going too close to the sun. He's just trying to reach new heights, but it kills him. And that's a sad ending, but that's real life. Like sometimes we do too much. Sometimes, and I want to show, like, that's really the goal for me. Showing the realness of life, and you don't got to go through it. You can learn from this guy who literally just died, killed himself. Icarus was trying to be great. He was trying to prosper. He was trying to make his dad proud, all of this stuff, but it was just too much. And that's the vibe, man. That's what I'm focusing on.
Excellent, man. Excellent.
I don't want to spoil any of your projects, but in terms of you saying that you like to sort of like you're sort of leaning towards like the Greek tragedy part of it and also the realism of it. Is that like why projects such as, I think it's Agent Venture, kind of have the ending that it does? Because it's like based in like absolute realism.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So sometimes it won't always work out. You know, sometimes it won't always work out. And that is like, that's exactly what that is. So a lot of my movies, the first movie I ever did, I put in theaters. It was called Infection. It was a zombie movie, 30 minutes long. It was a packed house. It's in 2013. This movie, the lead dies at the end by his girlfriend who turns into a zombie. And that's it's a story, so it's whatever. But that's the vibe. Happy endings don't really do it for me all the time. You know, if it's really well done, then it can solidify me and satisfy me. But if it feels like that wouldn't happen, like, you know, sometimes the happy ending is further away than we think. So that's for me. It's really important to show that side, and it's okay to have hard times and fall, and it's actually okay to die. You know, you go through a lot of stuff, and we don't understand what death is after that, but sometimes that's what happens. We don't have to hate it. We don't have to, you know, curse the world about it. And then sometimes that's just what it is. We got to live with that.
Yeah.
That's kind of dark, but you know.
a little morbid, but truthful, man. Some people can't handle the truth.
I was born with this heart thing, so I've always thought of death in my own life. You know, it's literally right here. You know, whenever, because I take aspirin to thin my blood out. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't. It's death is. We have to. I want the world to like accept death and not kind of make it about us. You know, a lot of times when we go through death and things like that, it becomes a selfish thing. It's like, I miss this person. But if they were going through pain in their last moments, aren't you happy that they are resting now? If they were, you know, having a hard time with their life and now they get a chance to just I really think death is like sleep. So that's really, I'm rambling. I'm sorry.
No. So it's totally fine.
Listen, man, I mean, to harp on that, man, some of the greatest minds in music and in film and in any genre of entertainment have spoke on that. Tupac used to talk about death all the time.
100%. But I don't want to be like Tupac. I don't want to bring death to me. I just want to explore life.
Acknowledge it.
Yeah, I want to explore life, and then if death comes, then that's it. But also, I want to apologize. You asked me about my inspirations. Edgar Allan Poe is #1.
Oh,
Edgar Allan Poe is the #1 inspiration I've ever had in my life for storytelling, genuinely. The Telltale Heart is one of the perfect short stories ever. I'm actually
that used to creep me out when I was young. I remember we read that in school, and it gave me chills as a kid. I was like, oh, that's so creepy.
I was scared of Crooklyn, but I was never scared of Telltale Heart. You know, just because it was such a captivating story about this guy who is, who's having his own internal battles. We say that he loves the old man. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Telltale Heart, but
with the eye, the old man with the eye, yeah.
Yeah, he says that he loves the old man, but you can't. And we never actually understand why he kills the old man. And I don't think it's because of the eye. I think it's because, you know, this old man was above him. He kind of maybe treated him a certain way, and he couldn't really come to terms with that. And like Edgar Allan Poe is the #1 influence that I've ever had in storytelling. I just want to say that.
Oh, absolutely, man. That's a great thing to pull from. He's definitely he's a good inspiration. I can't disagree with that at all.
He's a top inspiration for sure.
So kind of veering off topic slightly.
Sure.
Something I saw on your IMDb. Who is Danny Hill? That
is me. That's my name.
Yeah.
So my name is Danny Hill. I go by DESHAWN. DESHAWN is my middle name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, learn something new every day.
I think, to be honest, if I wasn't born with heart problems, I love sports now. I believe I would 100% went the athlete route, and then Danny Hill would have been a perfect name. That I could hear that as the announcer says that. But with TV and things like that, I kind of wanted something that was more smooth, you know, something that was more catchy, you know, that felt a little better. But it is still my name. It's still me. It's like, you know, it's like a Stephon. You know? Yeah, but it's perfect though. You know, it fits great. It's catchy, and when people hear it, they think of a leading man type of role. So that's what I'm kind of trying to put out there.
Gotcha.
That's good.
Well, I also go by my middle name, so middle name gang all day.
There you go.
But I don't want to get too off topic, but I was very curious as you mentioned this. You said you're into sports. Like, are you a Chicago sports fan, or like is that like who your teams are?
No. Chicago. I hate Chicago fans, bro. Like,
so who do you like then?
Dallas Cowboys fan. So,
so wait, sorry. So one, I'm a Ravens, so fan. We just got you yesterday.
Yeah.
But also,
don't
like
get him
Cowboys
started.
fans, I
Don't get him
grew up as a
started.
Cowboys fan before the Ravens came here, so I don't hate them, and my family's Cowboys fans. But like, how can you say that like the Cowboys fans are like, oh, I'm cool with them, but Chicago fans are terrible?
No. I'm not cool with them. I'm not genuinely Cowboys fan. I understand why people hate us. I understand it because I hate us genuinely. Because when you think of what a Cowboys fan is, it's like it's delusional greatness, you know. And it's like the minute Dak Prescott, and I'm kind of tough on Dak Prescott. I don't want to get too much into that because I get passionate about it, and it gets annoying a little bit. But the minute that Dak Prescott scored a touchdown, he was the king in Dallas for no reason. Like, we didn't get to the playoffs. We didn't do great in the playoffs. Dak, played one half of his game, So it's like, why are y'all praising this guy who hasn't shown us anything? And he's definitely not better than Romo. That's for sure. He's not a better thrower of the ball than Romo. If I'm not sure how much in football knowledge you guys have, but there was a player by the name of Laurent Robinson who spent 1 year with Tony Romo and got 1,100 yards, went to the next team, and was never heard from again. Romo made him a star because of his talent. I'm ranting again. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I think we're seeing with Romo in the booth is like his football IQ is just incredible. Like, he's so good at commentating, and he knows the plays and knows what's going to happen.
He had bad luck, man, because you got to think his running backs were who? You got Marion Barber, who was good for a while. He wasn't great though. He wasn't amazing. Then you got Felix Jones, who is literally just a scat back who every game he might have 2 good runs of 15 yards. So Romo has to throw at least 36 times a game. When you got to throw that much each game, you're going to get picked off for sure. Like championship teams, you need a run game, you need a defense, and you need to throw the ball 21 times.
Yep.
And that's Romo didn't have that. And then the spike, the handoff field goal in Seattle, the thing that really crushed his whole career to start it off.
Oh, yeah.
Why is he even holding the football? Like, why would Romo hold the snap on a field goal? Like, does that happen often? The starting quarterback does that? Like, that's not.
The only other time I can think about it was in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, was in the fictional Super Bowl. Dan Marino held the ball for Ray Finkel.
Yeah.
And the
laces out.
That's the only other time I can think of the quarterback. Yeah, that's the only other time I can think of quarterback holding the ball in that position. You're absolutely right.
I'd like to point out the fact that thank you guys for turning this episode into fucking Sports Center.
Yeah, I get big enough.
We did like a 2-minute thing on sports.
I'm just saying. Now, now all of a sudden you guys are Stephen Hill and Shaq, and come on, what's going on around?
That's funny. But yeah, man, Cowboys fans, I don't love. I like them because they support the same team as me, but some of the time it gets annoying because they are very delusional. I like to be very realistic about it and say like who's doing good, who's not. And they don't care who. As long as they got a star on their helmet, they're the best player in the world to a Cowboys fan. Chicago Bears fans, they don't even care if they're good or bad. They just want to talk shit. So it's like I can't talk to you guys anymore.
Yeah, but man, look, it's all about. I'm not much of a sports guy, but of course, and I'm sure you guys could both agree, it's all about the Bulls in the '90s, man. Jordan, that's all. Listen. That's what I grew up on. That's my extent of sports knowledge. I love Jordan in the '90s. That's the way it is. You look like you don't agree.
Man.
I sound like Steven
Cowboys
Smith right now. You don't really agree with that. You don't really agree with that.
Cowboys and the Bulls in the '90s like ran.
They were killing it.
The decade, no question.
And
then we'll get back. Sorry to your career real quick.
No,
I'm just real curious
because I really needed that. I needed to get that off my chest.
Real quick, who you're like if you're into baseball or basketball, who are your teams there?
I don't have a necessarily team for baseball. I'll say Chicago Cubs just because they're legendary. They finally got a ring recently, off of nice drought. I just love history like that. Like I'm a real purist type of classic type of guy. So the Cubs for baseball. I would say I don't have a team for basketball at all, but I do think James Harden is one of the best for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. We'll switch back to your career and your stuff. I wanted to ask you. I don't want to feel like I'm putting you on blast or anything like that. I noticed that a lot of your projects, you are the writer and director. Is that like by design that you're like, only I can really pull off this vision, or are you being like, hey, like if I need to, I'm willing to give my script to someone, or I'm willing to direct someone else's script?
I'm willing to do both of those things, but I am a writer and director by trade. Like working with someone else on their vision would be amazing. And I have done that before several times where I've executed someone else's vision. But for me, I love my own writing, and I love the kind of the things that I expect from it. And as a director, when you're working on your own stuff, you can get really specific. You can really say, no, that line doesn't go like that. You have to say it just like this, because that's the way this perfect thought is streaming through my mind. And it doesn't go through any filters. It's just me, like, exactly saying exactly what it is. So I'm similar to like the Coen brothers in that way, and Tarantino in that way, where this is from me. So you're gonna hear me give you real direction each time, you know. So it's gonna be, I don't want anybody just throwing the lines away, just kind of fluffing it and things like that. I need to make sure that you are feeling what I'm feeling in these moments, and that you are displaying what I want to be displayed in these moments. So it's definitely by trade, it's by desire to be a writer and director. I have more stories that I want to tell and direct, but I'm always open to work with other people, seeing their vision, writing for them, directing for them, executing different things.
It's funny you say that too, man, because I totally agree with that notion. I personally am a little bit more selfish when it comes to that, because when it comes to acting, I am okay with as a performer, or even when I want to, when I step behind the camera, which I don't do too often, but I'm more of I'm an in front of the camera guy, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I tend to, when it comes to acting, I tend to don't mind bringing somebody else's vision to life. I tend to not be selfish. Where I really get the most, how do I say, sensitive and the most selfish and the most protective about that is music and comedy. Like as a rapper and a singer and a songwriter, the thought of somebody writing or ghostwriting for me it disgusts me. And that's just me. I write all my shit musically, and I'm the same way with comedy. With acting, I don't give a fuck. I will bring somebody's script to life as an actor, but as a comedian, when I get on that stage and I do stand up or I do a sketch or I do anything related to comedy, I don't mind. I'm a little bit more selfish. Like, I like to bring my own shit to life, So
and
I
think
feel you on
that comes from like the expectation of what it is. Like as an actor, you kind of expect for somebody else's words.
Exactly.
But as a writer, as a comedian, it's very personal, So it's a little different. But I totally understand what you're saying.
And I came in as an actor. Yeah. With that ideology, I was okay with that. I was like, I'm coming into this bitch to bring somebody else's shit to life. I'm cool with that.
Exactly.
So that's my take on that, man. I wanted to ask you real quick,
sure.
And then again, kick it back over to Vince, and he could actually, ask you his own form of the same question I'm about to ask. Mm-hmm. How's your family or your parents? How do they feel about the path you've chosen obviously as a filmmaker, but you're also an actor. But how do they feel about the entertainment industry? How you've embodied that?
Well, my mom used to want to act. She always told me that she wants to act, only put her in a movie and things like that. But outside of that, to be honest, I guess they support me, but it's not really about that for me.
Yeah.
I didn't ask anybody for permission to do this. I didn't get anybody's good graces before I left. If they were to hate it, I would still be here. I'm sure they don't. I'm sure they're proud of me, and they're grateful and proud that I'm doing this, and
I'm sure
maybe putting a little light on our good name. So I think they support it, but at the same time, I don't worry about that at all. Who supports it? I'm worried about what I'm doing and how I can get better.
Absolutely. No, absolutely, man. I definitely feel that. Did you want to kind of coattail off of that, Vince, or did you want to push along with? I just wanted your opinion on it as well.
No. I feel like that was good. I was gonna ask probably like 2 more questions, and then if you had anything else, like we're not ending, but like we're getting to that point where we're kind of winding down. So I just wanted to talk about you guys collaborating. So
absolutely.
you guys are doing you guys have a project, I think it's called Thursday.
Yes, it's called.
Yeah, I'll let DESHAWN. Yeah, I'll let you. That's
so my question real quick. Sorry, because I heard it's a romantic thriller, and that you've cast LAREN Max Starmore as the charming male lead. So my question is, why him?
Oh, whoa, wait, wow.
So here's the thing.
Hey, hold on, DESHAWN, man, let this boy know. Let this boy know who he's dealing with.
Right. No, okay, so let me get into it. First, I want to say LAREN Moore can really perform. Like, he can really get into it,
brother.
really perform how he needs to perform. I chose him because the greatest actors, we don't really notice. The greatest actors are not like the most fit or the most beautiful people. They're kind of like that everyman who can relate to the most people. You know, the best actors to me are kind of like just regular people that were plucked out and have great talent. And I'd say you're not attractive. You look great today, man.
Thanks, man. That means a lot to me, man.
There you go.
I'm trying to stay pretty. I'm trying to stay pretty.
I'm here for it. But in all honesty, LAREN can really act. He's really a worker, so he's ready to work. And that's, for me, it's really important that you take it seriously. It's really important that that we as a group try and do the best we can. And I don't want to work with people who might show up and they're not feeling it that day or something like that. Like, when the cameras are on, it doesn't matter what you feel, because you're not even you at this moment, so it really doesn't matter. I think LAREN really does perform great in this movie. I'm still looking at some of the footage and I'm like, man, this is perfect. This is really perfect. I can't wait to show people what we're working on. I'm grateful that he wanted to work with me. I'm grateful that I had the story that really kind of spoke to him in that way, to where he accepted it, and that it was able to, you know, that it's going to be able to affect people in the way that it will.
And man, thank you for saying all that, man. I really appreciate it. It was definitely an honor. And again,
100%.
like I opened the show with, you shocked me with your how steadfast you were about casting me, and I was just like, okay, so this is a person. As a filmmaker, I was like, this is a person that likes to get shit done, and that's what attracted me not only to the project but to working with you, because you saw something and you went after it, instead of people like to go through the rigmarole. And listen, I being older, I don't mind. Obviously, I still consider myself up and coming as a performer.
Right.
And I don't want to make it about myself, but I just want to get this point out real quick.
Go ahead.
So I don't mind auditioning. I will still audition. I will still try to showcase my talents to get stuff. But like, I'm at the point now, like, I'm ready to get it, bro. I am so ready to get it.
Exactly.
So when you did that, and then with the project we got coming up with the stage, man, I was just like, you make me anxious to want to perform. And that's what I like. That's the type of filmmakers I like working with. So
I appreciate that. And I want to say one thing. Like, there's a lot of times you'll meet actors, even in LA. Like, I was talking about how everyone is pro-minded and things like that, but you'll meet people everywhere that they see something cool, and then that thought is enough. You know, so it's like the zombie movie I made. It's like, yo, I wanted to be a zombie. You could have hit me up, but if I would have messaged you, you know, you probably would have ignored me. You probably would have told me you was busy. You know, you probably would have told me that it couldn't work out for some reason. Not you specifically, LAREN, actors. You know what I'm saying? And you were ready, and that meant a lot. Like, when I promise something to somebody, I tell people a lot of times, like, if I speak to you about a movie, I'm very serious about putting you in it, and I'm really serious about getting it going. And a lot of times people just want that little moment of like, yo, I might be in a movie, and then it fades away. So people that follow up and people that are ready to work and prepared and take it seriously, that means the world to me.
real quick side note. Again, I don't want to spoil too much about the film, but just to highlight how steadfast and how professional and how on point DESHAWN is as a director and a filmmaker. There was one day I was a little bit late to the set. I had trouble finding parking, and I was a little bit
What?
late. I
That
know,
doesn't
I
sound like
know.
you.
I was tardy. I was tardy. I'll admit. I for one of the shooting days I kind of held up production, and it was a shot that I was supposed to do where I was coming out of a building. I was supposed to be coming out of a building, and right when I finally made it and I parked and I ran over there to try to rush and get prepared. I think it was like a security guard was like, "You guys can't film here," and it turned into some bullshit. And DESHAWN was like, he it wasn't really directed, but I know he was talking about me, and that. But this is just to show how much he really wanted to get. He was like, "Man, nigga, we could have been got this shot." Yes, he was like, "Man, he didn't call me out directly, but he was like, nigga, if you had got here on time, like." I kind of laughed to myself. Like, yeah, he right. Like, I kind of normally I would have been like, hold up, man, hold on, we got to talk about this, bro. But he was right. He was right, and it still turned out to be a great shot. We still got it done, but that impressed me because I was just like, yeah, this nigga don't play. I like that.
No, because we were out there for like a little while, and
Yeah.
we were in the clear for a good minute, and we were waiting like, yo, we can get this. It looked good too, and we just waiting. And then as soon as you show up, the other person comes out. No. But I mean, we got it done though. That's the important part. Like, things happen, and on set, and you got to adjust, and you got to keep going, and it's really important that we don't let those things get us down when we're shooting, because those things can actually ruin moods, ruin the mood of the entire group, and it's up to us to really propel it forward.
It was an amazing experience, man, and hopefully, we'll get to showcase it to the world real soon. We'll Vince, if you want a couple closing questions or a couple closing things, I'll kick it over to you.
I just have one last thing, and then we'll either wrap it up or I'll kick it to you if you want to ask anything. This is my last thing. Sure. I just wanted to ask about your other project together. I heard that there's going to be, if you guys are able to talk about it, sort of the show where LAREN will be and hosting capabilities.
Again, I'll let DESHAWN. Yeah, that's I'll let that be his discretion about how much of that he wants to talk about.
Right. So I'm not really shy about that. We have a show called The Stage, which is an interview show. Every performer, whether they know it or not, the stage has started it. Being on stage is the epitome of a performer. And that's really what I think every performer kind of leans towards. So it's an interview show where we meet, up and coming talent, comedians, actors, etc., and we just interview them and see their upcoming, their grind, what they're working on. But we also get them to show us a little bit. So with every performance, we got a performance at the end. With every interview, we got a performance at the end. And I think it's gonna be really dope. LAREN is like perfect for it because he has an actor vibe, but he can also go MC vibe where it's introducing da. I think he can do that really well. I think with this platform, he can be allowed to show his personality in a good way and really connect with people and be seen as that guy on camera that can really connect with artists and really get to know people and make them comfortable and let them know that, this is a safe place for performers. I'm really big on the integrity of all of it. So it's going to be the place that a performer can come and say, I don't mind giving you this monologue, or I don't mind showing you my stand-up set, or I don't mind giving you this song I haven't released yet, because we understand that you are putting value in what we do. So I think LAREN's going to be perfect for that. That's going to come out sometime next year. We're still trying to get that all situated, but it's on the way for sure.
Absolutely, man. And once again, I definitely want to thank you for making me the part of that project, and especially the focal point, because I love hosting is something I'm the most comfortable doing, which is why I started the show. This is why I started the show with Vince, and I like to exercise my chops when it comes to that. The first thing I ever did, acting wise or comedy wise, was on stage. I didn't see a camera till I got older. From kid till I was literally into my 20s. it was always theater. It was always acting classes, theater, the stage, hence the name of the show. I didn't see a camera till I became an adult. Everything was always
100%.
backstage, and now I get to see the camera a lot more, and you're assisting in that, and I'm excited about the show. Um, I mean, we have Vince here, who is a actor. I would like to hopefully get him on the show once we start this. He should
Yeah,
definitely come
man.
on the stage, man.
100%. If you are interested in genuinely having an interview and giving us a monologue, each guest has to give a performance of some type.
Yes.
So the stage will be cleared after the interview, and you'll just kind of get into it. And that's going to be each episode, and that's 100%. I want it to be for people who are really active, who are really trying to do things, who are maybe they have something. I mean, it doesn't have to be constant work, but you got to be trying to do something, man. And that's really important to me because it means a lot that people are doing more than just talking. We're actually trying to move the needle. And sorry, I think somebody coming in.
Where
walking in my
where
room.
are you at?
I'm at home.
Where
I felt like my door got twisted.
Okay, I thought you was it sounded like you at a hostel, like somebody just walking in.
Somebody come here and take
that was
my
probably
head
on
off.
my end. No, there was
maybe
something
so.
on my end too.
Okay, but yeah, man.
Sorry, you don't have ghosts or anything.
For me, it's really a great place. It's a great thing that I want to really do it for the community, the film community. I want more stages. I want more performers to take it really seriously. The microwave era is not my favorite. I need more integrity. I need more purism, and I need it to be real. So that's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely, man.
Cool.
That it is, man. That it is, and definitely, I like to bridge gaps and I like to link people up. I like to build families. Vince, you should definitely send this man a headshot, your resume. Let's get him your demo reel. Let's all work.
Absolutely.
Dude. I've got a lot of.
I will say yes now, and then when you call me, I'll be like, "Oh, I'm busy," just like everyone else. No, for real. Like I'll be down. I'll be down.
Yeah, man. I'm all about bridging gaps, man. I've got a lot of projects I want to do with Vince as well. I'm just all about working. We're all a bunch of talents, and
Love it, man.
This is where we need to be. And I understand it is a pandemic right now, and things are rough right now. But within something as devastating as this, there's still light at the tunnel, and there's still an opening to be productive. You can never let something like this or anything in your life stifle you to the point where there isn't a sliver of time where you could be productive. And I'm all
100%. There's always going to be a reason why something can't work. And that will determine whether you do it or not, simple and plain. And no one cares about the excuse. They only care about if you did it or not.
All right. Well, that's a great quote to end on, man. I like that.
It's so organic.
Spitting some gems there. Vince, you got any closing things you want to say? And then we'll go ahead.
I just want to say it was great meeting you. Thank you so much for coming on the show and talking with us.
Absolutely. DESHAWN, I appreciate you, man. I'm looking forward to working with you more. I'm at the point now. You've proved to me to be a pretty stand-up guy, a visionary, and I'm there when you need me, brother. Whenever you're all I need to get by. I see the morning dew. I took one look at you. I won't sing that to you ever.
This is why he's the host. Do we see this?
It's all the heroin. Don't worry about it. Anyway, DESHAWN, I want to thank you again, brother. Listen, as far as popcorn and booze is concerned, you're always welcome on this platform to come back, update your stuff. And definitely tell us anything you're working on. You're more than welcome to come back. We could do a part 2 if you're interested.
For sure.
Because I feel like there's so much more you could tell us, man.
There's a lot. But I want to say this. Great title. Once the pandemic is over, we all have to get popcorn and booze together and watch a really good movie. I'm really down for that. But also, I do have with Thursday, it's a 5-part movie thing. So there's Thursday, there's Chicago Weather, there's The Compass, there is The Man on Sunset, and then there's Mad Men Know Nothing, which is the remake of Telltale Heart.
Oh, wow.
Okay, yeah, I saw that
Kudos for
the
that.
Chicago one and the Man on Sunset were in production on IMDb, so I had no idea that they were all like interconnected. That's great.
Yeah, they're not the same. They're not like a storyline through each one, but it's going to be 5 different stories for one big night, you know. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so that's something that I'm really looking forward to. Got a lot of features coming up, you know, some pilots I'm working on. Just trying to stay busy, man, for sure.
Absolutely, man, and I like that idea, dude. If you want to definitely do something with Popcorn and Booze, we are here. As a matter of fact, if when you premiere those projects, we would love to host the premieres of those. We would love to do something of that
That
nature.
actually might be perfect, man. We can definitely
Yeah.
talk about that in the future.
We shall do that, man.
100%.
I can't take
Where can
complete
we?
credit. I can't take complete credit for the name though. It was actually more so Vince that came up. I tweaked it a little bit because he originally said popcorn and beer, and I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
let's make it more contemporary. I want to talk about let's just do booze
Like
because
a little
everybody likes
classic.
Right.
yeah, and
Okay.
make it a little bit more elegant." But I can't take credit. It's more so Vince that was his thing.
Okay, Vince. Before you answer your question, ask your question. I got a question for you guys, and
Yes,
this is really important to me. Favorite movie for both of you?
Say that again.
Favorite movie for both of you? What's the favorite movie?
I'll let Vince go first on that one.
I go back and forth, but I got to go Back to the Future.
Okay, that's a classic right there. You can't beat that.
Yeah. Every time I watch it, I know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm always on the edge of my seat. I'm always like, oh my God, they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it. But that's a good movie. They always make it. Yeah.
Oh man. For me, it's a toss up. I could tell you my top 2 favorite movies of all time. I have to go with Birdman. I have to go with Birdman and Django Unchained are my 2 favorite movies.
Contemporary. You're pretty modern, huh?
But great stories. I mean, I like the stories. If they had been 2 independent films, I would have been just as equally as interested.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, but Django and Birdman are my top 2 right now, man. And then there's a whole bunch.
Tarantino's Django, right, or the original?
Yeah. That's Tarantino, man. Or which version? Tarantino. Although I don't know. As far as Quentin Tarantino, I just recently saw this, and I'm kind of pissed off I did not see it in the theater. I really liked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I did not know. I was very shocked about the twist at the end, and I can't say. I don't want to say spoiler alert. The movie's a year old. For our viewers, if you haven't seen the damn movie, the basis of the movie is the Manson family murders. And I did not know that. I thought that was incredibly creative of Quentin Tarantino to put that spin on it. So I'm kind of leaning towards Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is one of my favorites kind of now.
When Marissa and I saw that in theaters, we knew how it ended in real life. So that's how we thought it was going to end in the movie. So when they, spoiler alert, kind of flipped it and everything kind of changed, like we were like cheering. We were like, oh my God, this was so great. But like, because we were literally holding each other's hands, being like, this isn't going to be good. This is going to be good. They're going to kill them all.
And what's great about it is the way Quentin wrote that, the subtle hints that lead up to the finale is just like, wow, shit. It makes sense. I love that. I love films. I love any film that has a very creative plot twist at the end.
Can I get like some little nuggets on that? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
When we get to see Brad Pitt being the best friend on Earth, probably. Yeah. Throughout the entire movie, and it comes to climax at the end where he saved his friend's life. But we also get to see, I think what Tarantino was trying to do, maybe even subconsciously, was give us like a look into what Charles Manson was actually feeling in his moments of failure. So like when he's in the audition in this trailer and he's throwing stuff and kicking stuff and he's pissed off, his face, he has the Manson hair, he has the Manson mustache and all of this stuff. And it feels like they're going through the same thing at that moment. Like that same failure, that same that sense of nothingness. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not da-da-da-da. What Leonardo DiCaprio's character did is adjust, and Charles Manson could never adjust to changing his mindset of himself. I feel like that movie is all about acceptance of where you are and who you are. Because you think Brad Pitt is very accepting of his place in the world, and he's very cool, he's very calm, relaxed. Everything is easy because he doesn't mind. He doesn't mind what the world is. Leonardo DiCaprio's character is fighting against the wall at all moments because he wants more and he can't accept where he is, and he's upset and sad. And I genuinely feel like that was a allegory for Charles Manson, and not to get him off the hook and say like he had bad feelings or whatever, because what he did was selfish, and it was attention seeking, and it was all of those things, and none of it was positive. I just think that what Tarantino did in that moment that's really one of my favorite movies, and I since it came out, I probably watched it about 10 times. I think it's really well done. But I think, can I ask you guys a question? Favorite Tarantino movie here? Favorite Tarantino movie?
Oh God, Django, and slightly leaning towards Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But I mean, Pulp Fiction. I mean, there's so many. Yeah, I have to go with Django though.
Okay. How about you, Vince?
And I haven't seen all of them. I know I should because I like them, and I've heard some of the ones I haven't seen are like the best ones. But the ones I've seen, I'd say like toss between Pulp Fiction and Once Upon a Time.
Okay. I would tell you guys to take a minute and just get real comfortable and watch The Hateful Eight.
I tried. I'm gonna be honest. I with an ex-girlfriend of mine. I got about 30. I know, right? I got about 30 minutes into the movie, and it was just too slow for me. Theatrically, it was beautifully shot with the style. What was it? Was a millimeter camera? 70 millimeter. I thought that was incredibly creative on Quentin's part because it gave it a more genuine, raw look. But the music was incredible. I have to say. Again, I'm a score guy.
I love that music.
Yeah.
I would say that Hateful Eight is probably my favorite, and I genuinely respect all of Tarantino's work. I think he's probably the master of film right now, and that's not like a hype beast, anything like that. I try and be really critical when I say stuff like that, but I think Tarantino really just takes the cake with everything he does. The Hateful Eight is stoic, it's dark, it's angry, it's very ground level, and it's all about who's telling the truth, who's lying, and it's more Reservoir Dogs than we give it credit for, but that's kind of the vibe he's going for. And shout out to him for that. I love that for sure.
Yeah, and shout out to Quentin Tarantino, and shout out to you for because here's the thing, I'm a film buff. I know Vince is too. I definitely know. We could talk about this for hours, dude. Right now, I could talk about film forever, man. So definitely when it comes to anything like that, like Quentin Tarantino, I love talking about this stuff, man. Film is it's an amazing thing, and thank you for your contribution, man. And I wish you all the success, man. I really do.
Where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, shout out your shit, dude.
All of my social media is real DESHAWN HILL. Everything is real DESHAWN HILL. If it's not, I messed something up. But everything should be real DESHAWN HILL. I have a podcast coming out called The Film Police. We're actually going to be a media news space where we do countdowns, we do top movies, we do talking and things like that. If you guys want to be on that, we haven't launched yet. We're waiting for the new year to kind of really get rolling. Articles and things like that. I definitely want you guys on to talk some film, and I want everybody watching this to look out for that.
Absolutely, man. And name, just go ahead and name drop a couple of your future I know you named a few of them, but remind the people, what do you got coming out within the next year?
So in the next year, we got Chicago Thursday, Man on Sunset, The Compass, and Mad Men on Nothing, which is the premiere night thing I'm trying to get together. And outside of that, we have a lot of writing, man. A lot of ideas that we hoping can take us to the next level, that can really open up doors for us. So outside of each projects, no films in the immediate forefront that I'm going to film next outside of these, but a lot of writing, a lot of planning for things that are to come.
Awesome, man. And that is a beautiful thing, man. I want to say real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and close it out, go to the outro. You and our first guest are, and Vince will probably concur to this, are going to be very hard to top. You guys have really brought it for such a small scale show. You, our first guest, Davion, shout out to my boy Davion, and you, Mr. Hill, You guys have set the bar really high for future guests.
For sure, for sure. Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate the opportunity just to speak to people and speak to you guys. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to doing this again for sure.
Awesome, man. And thank you for being on the show, you guys. Thank you, DESHAWN, for being on the show. Thank you guys for watching. And it's about that time, Vince, to go ahead and send it on home. It's like I feel like doing the now it's time to say goodbye to all of our good friends. The POPCORNBOOZE. See what I just did there? Did you see what I just did there? Did I spell popcorn right? I hope I did.
I wasn't even paying attention.
Ah, damn it. All right, I hope I did. You guys, that's our show for today. Season 2, you guys, episode 5 with our lovely guest. Thank you to him for coming out and expressing just a creative mind. We bring creative minds on the show. That's what it's all about. And we do it with the best of our capabilities. Absolutely, man. And thank you once again. And to send us on out, you guys already know who I be. You know who I am. I am the jabroni beating, as said by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I am the jet flying, wheeling dealing, kiss stealing. Actually, I'm not a kiss stealing. That's a very rapey term. But I love Ric Flair. That's not a good thing to say anymore.
Not in 2020. Not for 2020.
Not in this day. We're not going to say that. No kiss stealing. I am the Canada Dry drinking. Ah, look at that. See, I am the chapstick using. Got some dry lips there. I am the sanitizer using. It's over there. I can't get it. It's a pandemic, you guys. Wear your mask, by the way. Wear your fucking mask and use sanitizer and wash your goddamn hands. I am the red Solo cup drinking. I want all the smoke. Shout out to the Street Profits. I am the seasoning using. Yeah. White people, season your shit. Season your shit. The man with the master plan, LAREN Maxstar Moore.
And I am the man of the hour, the tower of power, too sweet to be sour, Vince Eustace.
And you guys, yes, you have reached season 2, episode 5 of Popcorn
and Booze.
Gotta go, folks. Bye-bye. See you later.
Love.
Bye-bye. Love ya. Love ya. Gotta go. See you later. I'll see you later. I gotta go. Bye.